Good morning. So I'm Michelle Davis, Executive Director of the IFOPA, and I know lots of you in the US and around the world. And you know lots of us here at the IFOPA, but we have two members of our team who are brand new or newer. And so we just thought we'd take this opportunity this morning to jump on for a few minutes and give you a chance to meet them and learn more about the work that they're doing here at the IFOPA, how they're here to support you as families and also to support the work of the IFOPA globally. So we'll get started. So this morning with me, we have Emily Barnes, who is our marketing manager. And then we also have Brian Miller, who is here with us. He's our newest team member. And Brian is our director of development, having joined just a few weeks ago in March. So why don't we start with you, Emily? Why don't you share a little bit about your background and what brought you to this role of marketing manager here at the IFOPA?
So I joined the IFOPA at the beginning of July. And in some ways it feels like I just joined it. In some ways it feels like I've been here for years. So I started my career out in nonprofit fundraising and marketing, doing event planning and kind of a hodgepodge of tasks, as many nonprofit jobs seem to be. And I ended up kind of falling in love with the strategic communication side of things. So after working for a couple nonprofits, I went and worked for a couple of boutique branding and marketing agencies, and then became a partner in my own digital media agency, and loved doing that. While at one of the boutique agencies I had worked at previously, IFOPA was actually a client of mine, and I really fell in love with the org, with working with Michelle, with the mission and the community. And so when I saw the marketing job was posted, I jumped at the opportunity to work with IFOPA again, and then the rest is history.
So what really inspired you to join the FOP community? Was it your prior experience or what really brought you here to us?
So I think even when I was working at the boutique agencies, I spent a lot of time working with nonprofits, and I realized my heart really never left nonprofit. And so I've always kind of been eager to find my way back to a full-time nonprofit role. It's just a matter of kind of finding what the right fit would be for me. And I think seeing the growth of the IFOPA since when I initially worked with them until now was very exciting. And kind of in evaluating the opportunity, I saw there was a big it's a big moment for the IFOPA as we're kind of doing all of this strategic work. Things are shifting in the clinical trial and treatment landscape, and just the overall growth of the community. So it seemed like there was a really big opportunity to come in and make an impact, stepping into this new position, which I find very motivating. So yeah, it felt like it was kind of the perfect opportunity to bring the different skill sets I've kind of gathered and built over the years, and bring them to the work that the IFOPA is doing. So,
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I think we were together back in 2016 and 17, so
yes.
it's a little
Yep.
different now than
Blast from
it
the
did back
past.
then. It
Yep.
does. So Brian, maybe share a little bit about your background and what brought you to the IFOPA.
Yeah, so my background is that unlike Emily's, I've been in nonprofit work for over 20 years, starting all the way back, graduating from college, going to work for Scouting America, and then really learning how to be a fundraiser at that location, and then eventually becoming a chief development officer overall for a Christian radio network based out of Illinois, where I currently reside. Eventually, I ended up going to work for a software company just for a brief stint, but it was continued to work with nonprofits. And eventually, one of those nonprofits recruited me away to go and help with Christian relief efforts at Global Christian Relief. And eventually, that led me here to you, Michelle, and the FOP community and IFOPA. So I'm really excited to be able to share these talents that I have, the experiences that I have to help grow our fundraising efforts here at IFOPA.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's great that you have that global experience as well. So what inspired you to join the IFOPA, Brian?
Well, I was really drawn by the organization's unwavering commitment to finding a cure And I think that's the biggest thing. We want to find a cure for FOP and to also support those affected with this super rare condition. Before coming here, I had only briefly heard about FOP probably on a medical television show in a brief passing when a doctor was just like, "Oh, it's FOP." And
Right.
what I've come to realize in conversations I've had with many of the families so far is that it doesn't come that quickly. Um, but the fact that this community is so well connected and this community looks out for one another just because of the rareness of it and all of our desires, especially the organization's desires to find treatments and a cure one day, is such an inspiration. And I want to be able to help in that process with just my background in fundraising to help get us to that goal.
Yeah. So that's a great segue kind of into my next question. I mean, fundraising is how we make all of this happen. Just as you said, our vision is a cure for FOP that's accessible worldwide. So, Brian, how do you plan to engage donors to support our work?
So fundraising is a team effort, right? It's not one individual that takes part in it. And we have a great system of people that are currently doing some great community fundraising events. I was just talking to the Chrismans and talking about their bingo event just recently, and we were talking to a new family, Michelle, just this week, who's trying to figure out a community fundraiser event. And we've been talking to Bernadette, who's coming up with just this imaginative restaurant fundraiser that she's going to be doing in New York. And it's so exciting. And so we're going to continue, myself, to work closely with existing donors, with volunteers and community partners to really try to curate a culture of giving. And so we're going to work with families to help organize these great events. We're going to try to share some of the behind the scene updates as we can. And we're going to do our best to create the opportunities for our donors and supporters to really connect with each other and see the impact of what they're doing firsthand. We're also going to strive to recognize and celebrate our donors, making them feel valued and appreciated. If there's one thing that I really hang my hat upon, and that I love to tell stories and I love to build relationships. And so as we move forward in our fundraising experience, I hope to be able to tell better stories, especially with Emily's help and Michelle's help and all of our great families, but be able to tell the stories of those affected with FOP and the celebration of those supporters that are getting on board to really combat this disease. And so it's the mission to move forward to find this cure. And it's our duty as an organization to tell those stories and to tell them effectively.
Absolutely. So great segue back to Emily. Maybe Emily, talk a little bit about, marketing plays a huge role in raising awareness. So what are your top priorities for expanding our reach and impact?
So I think in the short time I've been here, it's really been, almost a drinking from the fire hose kind of experience of all of these things that we're doing and that I'm seeing and ideas that I'm generating. I think one thing that is a big priority is focusing on continuing to elevate our digital presence. So finding new ways to tell the stories of the community, increasing accessibility, greater access to resources through better content and design. I think we really have a big opportunity right now to find ways to leverage technology to continue improving what we have to offer. But that's not something I want to do in a bubble. So I think, I'm really committed to gathering feedback throughout the process to make sure we're being innovative but thoughtful in the way that we're approaching things. I think the FOP community is so diverse, and I have already formed friendships and close relationships with people, even in the short time I've been here. So I think continuing to build those relationships so that we're telling stories that feel authentic and truly reflect the priorities of the community is something that I'm really passionate about. And then another big priority, I think, is building connections with our partners in the global FOP community. And so because I think the more we collaborate, the more we can do for the community as a whole. So we recently launched a pilot program of an interactive social media platform that allows us to closely collaborate with our global partners so that we can seamlessly share information and updates both from the IFOPA and then gather information and updates from our global partners through these so that we can better coordinate kind of what's going out through our digital channels. And it's been a lot of work, but it's been very exciting. And I'm hoping it's kind of a program that continues to deliver a lot of value to our global partners and allows us to give them a level of support that we maybe previously haven't had the capacity to offer. So I think that project is a good example of kind of all the priorities lining up. And anyway, it's been really fun to work on. So
No, it's great. And, for people that, aren't aware of how many different organizations are working in FOP around the world, if you just go to our website, ifopa.org, and click the button, find an organization near you, you'll see a listing by country of the organizations that exist around the world. So we've talked a lot about business. So maybe let's talk for a minute about fun. So Brian, maybe start with you. Why don't you tell us something that's fun or unique about you that people might not know?
Oh, fun and unique that people may not know. Okay. So one of the things that is, I guess, fun and unique for me is that I am big into board games. Strategic board games that take 30 minutes to set up and 4 hours to play. I like board games. There's a convention in Indianapolis that I go to annually called Gen Con, and myself and 70,000 other game players show up and we play board games at the Indianapolis Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium Field. So that's
That is
one
unique.
thing that's unique
Love it.
enough for everyone to know.
I love it. Emily, what about you?
I think one thing that's kind of unique about me and coming into this role is I've been on my own rare disease journey for the last 4 years. And I think I kind of intimately understand the struggles around searching for a diagnosis, trying to find a healthcare provider who will listen and problem solve, and building a community who can support you through the good days and the tough days. So healthcare advocacy is something I'm very passionate about, and I think the opportunity to serve individuals and families who are on their own healthcare journeys is really rewarding and encouraging to me. And it just makes showing up here every day more personally fulfilling for me. And so it's not something that I really talk about a lot, but it is something that I think kind of gives me that extra level of empathy when I'm doing the work to understand, I don't have FOP, but I'm walking kind of my own journey, and I'm here to support everyone, the way that I'm blessed to have the same level of support. So
Yeah, no, I get it. It changes things. In 2020, my son was diagnosed with a rare cancer, 1 in a million cancer, synovial sarcoma. And thank God he's, continues to be free of cancer today, but it does just changes your perspective and the way you interact with community members and the way we do this work for sure. So yeah. So Emily, well, you're still on. So maybe talk about what are your favorite ways to spend your time outside of work?
So I have two kids, my daughter Molly and my son Mason. And my absolute favorite thing to do is spend time with them. They are so full of just curiosity and optimism. And I think it's just it's been such a joy watching them grow. Taking them on adventures. We love to do hikes and go to the science museum and do arts and crafts. And so that really is my central passion of my life. And then when I get me time, I think I am often at a thrift shop. I am obsessed with hunting for deals and special treasures. I love to cook and read and craft, and so I think like kind of any kind of creative pursuits are really fulfilling to me. And yeah, I
I
don't
hope
know.
that after Awareness Day, it's been crazy. After April, that you get more time to do those super fun things.
I have big plans, okay? Big plans. So yes.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, and Brian, what about you? What are your favorite ways to spend your time outside of work?
Like Emily, I've got children, so all my time outside of work is just doing what they want to do, basically. And so I got three boys. We're a very active soccer family. And we've got two of them heading out on a choir tour this weekend. One of them hanging out with us, our high schooler, he's going to hang out with us for the weekend. It'll be unusual because it hasn't been just him for many, 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 many years. But outside of that, I like to smoke meats, as every good Midwesterner likes to do. And then I also dabble in making what's called mead, which is honey, water, and yeast. Those are my kind of, when I'm bored, those are the things I'm going to be doing.
I love it. Well, my kids are all grown up. They're out on their own. And so cherish those moments. Like they go so, so quick. And you think, what would I do with my own free time? And then you're like, oh, I have a little free time to myself. Yeah, maybe I'll just go to brunch by myself with my husband, or watch a Chiefs game with our friends. So yeah, it does, it goes quick. So I just want to say thanks to both of you for taking a few minutes this morning to spend some time introducing yourselves to the community. I am so grateful to have you both on our team. We are like a family here at the IFOPA, both as a community around the world and as a team. And so just thank you so much for being on our team and for all the hard work and energy and passion and your time, talent, and treasure. Like each of us are donors as well to the organization. And so we pour back into this work as well. And so thank you for being here and for spending some time with me this morning.
Thank you. It's been so fun to be here. And if you haven't had a chance to reach out, I would love to connect with you. So feel free to send me an email or a Facebook message, or give me a call. I've loved meeting everyone. So yeah.
That's great. So good. Okay. Have a great
All right.
day.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks.